Writing inequalities from word problems. By the end of this video, you should be able to read a problem situation, pull out key information, and write an inequality. When we are reading word problems to write an inequality, it is exactly the same as when we write equations. The only difference is that instead of using an equal sign, we use one of our four inequalities: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. In order for us to know which inequality symbol to use, we need to look for some keywords. And those keywords are listed right here in this table. As I said, writing an inequality is just like writing an equation. So let's review that real quick. When you write an equation, remember you are looking for your variable term, which we also call the rate of change. And when we do that, we look for words like per, each, for every, or it might say times, like 5 times something. We also need to look for our constant. And our constant is generally a beginning or a starting value. It could be a fee, such as shipping and handling or a service charge. It might also talk about a one-time amount. Like if you go bowling and you have to borrow shoes, you only spend that money that one time. We also are given a total or an ending amount. It might say the word is. Remember, is another word for equals. We are still looking for all of these things. The only difference is that instead of an equal sign, we're using one of our four inequality symbols. So we're looking for these types of terms. So let's look at some examples. Our first example says Miss Posey is writing a manuscript and wants to complete more than 150 pages before her vacation. That right there is one of our indication words, more than 150. So if I come down here and I look at my table, look for more than, we find it right here, which means I need to use the greater than. So we want her to write more than, greater than 150 pages. This we know so far. She has already completed 5 pages. So that means she already has 5 pages. That's our beginning value, also known as our constant. So we already have our inequality symbol and our constant. She can complete about 9 pages per day. That right there, 9 pages per day. That's our variable term, our variable term. Write an inequality that can be used to find how many days, D, so D is the letter we should use, it will take her to reach her goal. So we know she already has 5 pages written, and she can write 9 more pages per day. So 5 plus 9D is greater than 150. Now I could have written that the other way. I could have said 9 pages per day plus the 5 that she already has needs to be greater than 150 before she goes on vacation. Just like equations, we could have put the 150 at the front. But if we switch sides, Our inequality symbol must also flip. Remember, our inequalities are kind of like alligators, and the alligator wants to eat the bigger side. So if I flip these around and I put 150 on the left and 5 plus 9D on the right, my alligator is not tricked. He's going to flip around. He does not want to eat the 150. He wants to eat the other side. So he's going to turn around. So just be aware of that. Let's go on to our next example. The temperature begins at 12 degrees below zero. Let's pause there. What kind of numbers are below zero? Negative numbers. So we're actually beginning at negative 12. So our constant is negative 12. We're starting at negative 12. And falls 5 degrees each hour. If we're falling, again, we're negative because falling means we're subtracting. So our 5 degrees needs to be negative. But that's 5 degrees each hour. That's one of our key words that we're looking for that tells us our 5 is part of our variable term. 5 each hour. Write an inequality that can be used to find how many hours H, so H is the letter we need to use, it will take for the temperature to fall below negative 32 degrees. Below negative 32. Right here in our table, we see below tells us to use less than. So we know we need less than negative 32. Below negative 32, less than negative 32. Now we just put the rest of our pieces together. We're starting at negative 12 degrees, and we're falling, so minus 5 degrees each hour, so negative 5H. And again, these could be flipped. I could put my falling 5 degrees per hour at the front and my starting negative 12 seconds less than negative 32. So our next example. Let's get blue. Anthony currently has $300 in his lunch account. Well, we already have $300, so that's our beginning, our constant. He spends $9 per week on school lunches. Per week tells us our 9 is our variable term. So that's the number that needs to go with our X. And also take note, it says that he spends $9. So we're subtracting $9 per week. His mother wants to make sure he has at least $150 in his account at all times. At least is part of our inequality vocabulary. Right here. At least tells us to use greater than or equal to 150. Greater than or equal to 150. Write an inequality that can be used to find W. So W is the letter I should use, which represents how many weeks till she must deposit money into his lunch account. So going back to the front, he currently has $300. That's our constant. He's starting with $300. He's spending minus $9 per week. So times W. And again, this could be flipped. I could put my spending $9 per week. My $300 is positive. And then at least is greater than or equal to $150. Okay, our last example. Banks' electric company charges $6 per hour. Oh, per hour. $6 per hour. That's my variable term. That's my variable term. My 6 is going to go with my letter. Plus, oh, looky there. Plus, I know what plus means. A flat rate fee of $15. Flat rate fee. That's a term that tells us 15 is our constant. If Tomas can spend no more than $100, no more than is one of our inequality terms. No more than tells us to use less than or equal to. So less than or equal to $100. Write an inequality to show how many hours H the servicemen can work. So we have our variable 6H because it's $6 per hour plus the flat rate $15 fee must be no more than, so less than or equal to $100. And again, we can flip this around. We could say the $15 fee plus $6 per hour needs to be less than or equal to 100. We can also flip the whole thing around and say 100, but if I flip the 100, I flip my inequality because the alligator wants to eat the 100. 100 is greater than or equal to 15 plus 6H. You might also see it written as 100 is greater than or equal to 6H plus 15. These are all ways that you could have this same inequality written in multiple choice form.